What's up, everybody? This is Robert Ferguson, your nutritionist, a guy who shares because he cares. Now, today is going to be an interesting conversation because we're going to talk about a very popular medication that's out there called Metformin. If you know anybody who is taking Metformin, please share this with me because there's things that we want them to know. Now, joining me in today's sharing is one of our nutrition, health, and weight loss coaches. They call her the Hammer Girl, Lisa Marie. And after we share for about 30 minutes, we're going to go right over to Telegram, and we're going to have a really wide open conversation. And if you're not familiar with Telegram, then get familiar. We have provided the link so you can just click on that, establish a free account, and then it's almost like a radio or like a town hall, right? Because we all get there together and we share information. You can talk, everybody can talk, and we make it a very fun, festive, interactive opportunity to become informed. Now, there's a lot to say about this drug, Metformin. Not only are we going to share things with you that you may not know, we're going to talk a little bit about how you can get off Metformin. Yeah. And I know there's some doctors out there that prescribe Metformin day one because of an association that some doctors believe that Metformin could be helpful in you living longer. So helping with longevity. Now, we've looked at the studies. There is nothing conclusive. It is not there. And here you are putting your body in a situation where you're definitely causing harm. And then by the time you figure it out, you're older and it's like, man, if I could do it all over again, I would do things differently. Well, we're going to talk about it. And joining me, my partner in crime, the one and only Hammer Girl. Let's bring her on. What's up?
What's up, Robert? How are you?
I am good. You know, this is a very interesting drug to have a conversation about because practically anyone that you will ever meet, if they are a type 2 diabetic or a pre-diabetic, they're probably taking Metformin.
Yes.
I mean, it's been around for a long time. So one thing we know for sure is that a person can live a very long life. I didn't say quality, but they could live, to an old age taking Metformin. And there's some things that people will appreciate us sharing with them as we have this conversation today.
Absolutely.
So before we jump into that, if anyone's going to do the gut health challenge, I mean, we're less than 2 weeks away. So there's a link provided. You can learn more about it. And of course, make sure you click on our Telegram. And if you want to reach out to Lisa Marie, reach out to myself. Both of our websites are listed. So all you got to do is click on it and you can contact either one of us. And we go from there. So, Lisa, what's new with you?
Well, you know what? This is a good conversation. I was on Telegram earlier today, and we were talking about all different drugs and side effects and things that, we may not know about different types of drugs and side effects. So this is going to be a good conversation.
All right. Well, put your seatbelt on, people. Okay. And I think, I'm a big believer that we could jump right into the side effects and all that. But I would like to start, as I shared with the group last week over in Telegram. I said that when we talk about Metformin, I would walk them through the basics of how it works. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, and some people, if they're not a diabetic and they're not taking Metformin, but their mom is taking it, or they don't even know their mom or dad is taking it, or someone they love is taking it, they'll jump off and go, this is not a show for me. But if there's people that you actually love and care about, I would say stop what you're doing and pay attention. Because maybe you can encourage them, you can inspire them to get off of this med that has all of these side effects and definitely puts a person in a compromised position when it comes to their health. So stay with us. Okay. Now there's 3 basic things that I'll cover on how Metformin works. Okay. And this is an interesting conversation by itself, right? So metformin, one of the three things that it does, okay, that it's known for is number one, our liver is like a powerhouse. Inside of our liver, there's so many things that are taking place. And we're also going to be talking about the kidneys. But in your liver, you have stored carbs. Same as in your muscles, you have stored carbs. They're called glycogen when they're stored. And they're stored in the liver as well as in your muscles so that there's quick access when the body needs it for energy and to do many functions. So the liver maintains a certain amount of carbs. The reason why I got to share that is because your liver will simply secrete sugar into the bloodstream. Like, you ever had that moment, when you're starting to get hangry and you're trying to finish a project and you can tell that your blood sugar levels are dropping, and then out of nowhere, you're like, oh, I'm okay. It subsides. That's because your liver has secreted sugar into the bloodstream so that you don't pass out, so that your brain has energy. So the liver is helping to protect us. It's kind of like homeostasis when you think of temperature, right? So when I was a kid, the average temperature when everything is good was 98.6. And they would check if you had a fever. It hasn't gone up. Did it drop down? And that would give us an idea if your body's fighting something. So homeostasis would be like 98.6. It's different today, but let's stick with that just so people get the point. Well, your blood sugar that's in your blood has homeostasis. And on average, it's somewhere between 60 to like 99, right? So anything under 100 is considered normal blood sugar. You don't have diabetes, you're good, especially like fasting. And if your blood sugar levels start to drop, again, your liver will secrete sugar so that sugar is there and you can stay in homeostasis. So far, so good, Lisa?
Sounds good. Sounds like our bodies know what to do, right?
Yes. So one of the first things that metformin does is it blocks, let me say it again, it blocks your liver from doing what God designed it to do naturally. So it blocks your liver from secreting sugar into your circulation. And that helps bring the sugar levels down. So it blocks. Now, I was working with someone and they were taking digestive enzymes. And digestive enzymes, we have a lot of them in our body as well as they come with the food. Well, when you start popping digestive enzymes, your body quickly discovers, well, I don't need to produce digestive enzymes because he or she's automatically doing it. So then your body gets lazy, goes dormant, and it stops doing what it naturally will do. And anytime that happens, you're setting yourself up for a lot of problems because you want your body to be in homeostasis. You want your body to do what it naturally does. And so this drug blocks your liver from doing what it naturally would do. That can't be good.
Mm-mm.
Okay. And I got a story. So depending on where we end up, I can share some crazy stories. So that's number one. Number two, when you eat food, it gets into your small intestine eventually, and it continues to break down. And then a lot of the nutrients get pulled from the small intestine into the bloodstream. And then those nutrients can be used to do whatever the body needs. Well, metformin blocks, again, it blocks your body from absorbing carbs through the intestine into the circulation. So then that helps bring down the blood sugar. Again, this is not natural. And this is why a lot of people experience diarrhea when they take metformin. Is because basically if the carbs can't break down and get absorbed through the intestine into the circulation, then it doesn't make it through that. So it gets pushed through and you excrete it. So a lot of people have the runs. Sometimes it can be really bad. Not good. And then the third thing is that it helps with insulin sensitivity. Um, and that's a real interesting component. I think that was just thrown out there because the two, we can see exactly how it inhibits the body from doing what it naturally would do. But when it says insulin sensitivity, I think that's a combination of what's taking place as far as less blood sugar floating around and then feeling that we have more insulin sensitivity because your pancreas doesn't have to work as hard to get the sugar out of the blood and into the cells. Okay. That's as nerdy as I really want to go.
That was perfect.
Okay. So now we understand. And if I were to ask a large crowd, hey, would you like to take some type of drug that blocks your body from doing what it naturally does? I don't think people would be like, yeah, put me on it. I don't think so. Okay. And then when I think of like the side effects, right? So people who take metformin, I hear all the time, they feel sick. They have moments where they're vomiting. Diarrhea, of course, is a big side effect. Stomach ache, right? Because you're talking about your intestinal tract. Appetite is gone. They have like a metallic taste in their mouth. I've had quite a few people share that with me. And one of the worst things that can happen when you take metformin, right, is you can have a buildup of lactic acid in your body. And this is a very serious side effect if it were to happen. So it's called lactic acidosis. Very painful, not good. You could also get what they call B12 deficiency or hypoglycemia. So that feeling of feeling tired, I'm just not myself, man, I'm not feeling good. This is a side effect because you have that deficiency of B12, which we need B12. Mm-hmm. And when the blood sugar levels, you don't want to go work out, you don't want to like study, you don't want to do a whole bunch of things. You're just tired. You just want to sleep. So already, I don't know who would want to be on this. And I can tell you right now that long term, you're going to have some kidney problems. And when you have kidney problems, that leads to dialysis. That leads to a shorter life. That leads to a whole bunch of other chronic conditions. So metformin, in my opinion, is something that I wouldn't recommend to my worst enemy. Not even a little bit. Now, do you currently have any clients on metformin?
I do.
And do they want to get off of it?
Yes, they all want to get off of it.
Nice. And the good news is that we can get them off of it.
Absolutely.
So our stats with Diet Free Life, right? We're evidence-based, clinically proven. Our stats in one of our trials demonstrated that if you're on metformin and you follow what we teach you, 87% of people on metformin will no longer be on metformin 12 to 15 months max. And here's something really crazy, Lisa. Every client that I've gotten off metformin, whenever they get off of it, their blood sugar, their fasting glucose is always better immediately. Like immediately.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing, and I'm going to put it out there. If you guys got questions, bring it. You don't want to be on metformin. You want to work with a coach like me. You want to work with like someone like Lisa. You want to work with one of our coaches because we can create a plan that gets you off metformin. We get you off of those kind of drugs. And metformin is one of the easiest ones to get off. Now, let me say this, and if I'm talking too much, pull me back. Okay, Lisa? Mm-hmm. I had a client, and she's still my client. I kid you not, this is amazing. She loses like 30 pounds. Her blood sugar levels are all over the place. And she had been on metformin for about 27 years. We get off metformin, and her fasting glucose every morning was 87, 83, 91, 85. And she's like, oh my God, Robert, this is like a miracle. This is amazing. And I'm sitting there going, hey, right? And then about 2 months after that, without changing anything, her fasting glucose started rising. It goes up to like 165, then 180, 195, 210. And I'm like, oh my God. And so this goes to the point what I said in the very beginning. Whenever you're taking something that does what your body would naturally do, it creates confusion on a cellular level. Her body, for 27 years taking metformin, her body didn't know what to do. Her liver, it was almost like an extension cord that's unplugged. And you're trying to turn the lights on, you're trying to figure out, wait a minute, what's going on? Well, it's disconnected. And that's what happened to her. And so she's back on metformin. Now, I haven't seen that happen with anyone under 20 years taking metformin. This was the first time that I witnessed this, and it was mind-blowing to me.
Wow. And where was her blood sugar, Robert, when she stopped taking the metformin?
Well, when she was taking the metformin, she was averaging somewhere between 115, 130 fasting glucose. And I was like, let's go ahead and we tapered down. So she was doing 1,000 milligrams in the morning, 1,000 milligrams in the evening. And we took it down to 500. And then we looked at her fasting glucose when she didn't have it in the evening. So in the morning. And then we looked at if she only had it in the morning and not the evening. And so we made that transition. And then eventually we were totally off. And then her blood sugar level dropped. It dropped like to the lowest levels. And I would say 98% of all my clients, 98% of them, when they stop taking metformin, if their fasting glucose was 110, after they get off metformin, it usually drops about 10 points.
Wow.
So if someone is on metformin, unless you are just, I don't know, maybe you have absolutely no money, and I totally get that because times can be tough, and you can't pay for a coach. But if you don't get a coach, you're gonna pay eventually another way. You know what I mean? Like it's anyone that's on metformin. I mean, my phone should be ringing off the hook right now. We should be flooded with emails because you have a lot of people on metformin. And a lot of people just get comfortable. It's kind of like when you go into the doctor and they say, oh, you have fatty liver. Oh, what does that mean? Oh, my God, what do I do? Oh, you're okay. And no one asks the question, well, why is it okay that I have fatty liver? That doesn't even sound good. That's because the doctor can't prescribe any medication for fatty liver. The way you deal with fatty liver is to eat better, become more active, and get your fatty liver, get it down so it's no longer fatty. And the doctors, they don't know how to guide you on that. And so then you go, okay, well, what if I just don't do anything because everyone else, they're not doing anything? Okay. Then it'll graduate to stage 2, then stage 3, and it's up in the air. And then now you got cirrhosis of the liver and you need a transplant. The problem with transplants right now, Lisa, is that when someone dies and they, donate their organs, most of the organs that are like livers, they're fatty. So over like 50% of adults have a fatty liver, and most don't know it, men and women. And the fatty liver interferes with a whole bunch of other things. And so all these other things keep coming up, and the doctors, they're not treating the cause. They're just helping you out with the symptoms.
Yeah.
Wow. There's a whole bunch I can say over on Telegram, but I feel like I've been talking the whole time. I'm going to take a moment.
No, I think it's going to be a great conversation over Telegram. I know there's going to be a lot of questions. Like the sad part is like with all of these medications, and this was one of the conversations that we were having earlier, we were talking about different types of medications, but they don't share that information with you. And it's the same thing, like you were even talking about the digestive enzymes and things like that, right? So like even like the nutraceuticals, I don't think people realize sometimes what happens to your body when you're not letting your body perform how God created it to perform. When we're, taking different supplements because we hear somebody else taking it, or it's supposed to be good, it's supposed to help us. Um, we're just not informed as to how that actually affects us in the future. So this is a great conversation. I love these conversations.
Yeah, because the doctor, they're not taking the time to say, hey, sit down, Miss Jennings. Let me go over the side effects. Right?
Right.
Because if you go over the side effects, the average person will be like, oh, no, I'm good. I'm going to do this on my own.
Right.
It's like, because when you look at the side effects and then you understand, like, first we're messing with the liver. Then you're going to like start messing with your kidneys, right? Because if you're on metformin for a long period of time, we know that you're going to eventually have some problems with your kidneys.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have problems with your kidneys, depending on the level, that you got about 10 years. And that's not quality 10 years. Not good.
Right.
Not good at all. So I'll go ahead.
Like, I was just going to say, especially when, like I wish a lot more doctors were educated on nutrition, and because we know that you can reverse that instead of going straight to the medication. They don't know about nutrition on how to help somebody reverse it.
No. And they don't know about insulin resistance. So let's just kind of, guys, I want you to look at this, okay? So if you look in the middle, it says insulin resistance. Okay, insulin resistance is the most undiagnosed chronic condition that adults are experiencing right now in the world. And your doctor is not even checking for fasting insulin. They will check for fasting glucose, but they're not checking for fasting insulin. So the people with fatty liver, guess what? They have insulin resistance. So we catch the insulin resistance, we can prevent the fatty liver. If you know someone who's a type 2 diabetic, they've had insulin resistance for 5 to 20 years before they became diabetic. So think about it. You go to your doctor, they've been checking your fasting glucose. They do your hemoglobin A1C. And not one time are they checking your fasting insulin. That is an injustice. That is wrong. That is wrong. I had a client the other day. I said, make sure you get your fasting insulin. She had to argue to get her fasting insulin done.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
And this has happened many times because the doctor's like, oh, well, you don't need to do that. We check your glucose because they have not been trained.
Not educated. Yeah.
Right. They haven't been trained on insulin resistance. Like, matter of fact, like when you see metabolic syndrome, before that was called metabolic syndrome, the original name was insulin resistance syndrome. And then they changed it to metabolic syndrome. So insulin resistance is the driver. It is the driver. I mean, you have guys right now that are getting a little older. And, any guys want to come over, because we are working on a nutrition plan for men and women, by the way, who would like to improve their situation as it pertains, like for men, erectile dysfunction. There's a lot of men who would like to have, sexual relations. Right? But, they turn 45, maybe 50, and they're like, they got high blood pressure. And it's like that area of their body ain't working the way it used to work. That's insulin resistance, you guys. So if you improve on the insulin resistance, which we can, then that husband of yours or boyfriend or whoever it is, we can get him back to being, the guy that you remember. I mean, this is like, I don't mind talking about stuff like this because this is real stuff. I have my male clients, it comes up all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
and they don't even know how to bring it up. So I kind of lead them and I bring it up. Right. So if you guys if you know anyone on metformin, get them off. Put them in touch with us. If you're on metformin, don't put it off. Do not play don't play games, right? Because one, if you're taking metformin, that means you probably have elevated blood sugar. If you have elevated blood sugar, guess what else you've had already? Elevated, drum roll, insulin. So, all right. Now we're going to be going over to Telegram, you guys, and I want to invite you to come over. You'll see how fun it is. And we'll have other people talk, and we can talk about all kind of different things. But before we do that, we got a lot of shout outs, and I just want to point some of them out, Lisa, because they said hi to you and they said hi to me. We got Sandy Silvers in the house, Linda Jackson, Eldonna. I am so excited. Eldonna made it here. Cece is here. She says, hello, y'all. And the one and only Dana. I hope I'm saying this right, Dana. Please correct me, Lisa, if you know it.
Yep. She's
Domino.
Domino.
So I'm assuming that's Italian.
She's Italian.
Is she in New York?
No, she's not in New York.
Okay. Is she single? No, I'm just kidding. You know, we're talking about a lot of things. Hey,
you can talk to her on Telegram. I know Dana will be over on Telegram.
We got Darlene's in the house. Tina C is in the house. She goes, hi. Glad you're addressing this drug. My dad was on it. Well, man, yeah, we got to get people off of this thing. Wendy says, hi there. And you're exactly right. I discontinued metformin and my sugar levels dropped. Yeah, I don't understand that. I mean, that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
She says 5 years and I felt so much better. I mean, it's supposed to bring your sugars down, but that's why, man,
once you stop.
I don't trust these people, these doctors and the pharma. What's up, Cheryl? Cheryl she's going to be a coach one day. I can see that. And she is a really good, amazing client and friend now. So Cheryl, hello. And Joyce, what's up, Joyce? Joyce is amazing. And, Joyce is a coach and she's making some things happen and she's on a mission. And I'm excited to see what Joyce is going to do. I mean, I can't wait. And then we have Susan Moser. What are your thoughts on B12 shots for this deficiency? Okay. Well, that would be putting a Band-Aid on it. For people who do B12 shots, there's different active chemicals, molecules that make for B12. Not all are equal. So I would say email us. You can email my assistant or me, Lori at dietfreelife.com, and we'll email you back if you're going to do B12 shots. Even if you go to like a health store and they do B12 shots and you can get in line and get a B12 shot, you want to make sure that the active ingredient is one thing over another thing. So I'll give that information if you want to know it. Let me see. Diane says, doctor wanted to put me on metformin. I said, hell no. Good job, Diane. All right. Well, do you have any things you want to bring up? I kind of rambled a little bit on metformin.
No, I think this was a great conversation.
Okay. And guys, like, it's one of those things that is very doable. You can get off metformin. And along the way, you can learn how to eat regular, everyday foods. And you can get these really good, amazing results that can be with you for a lifetime. So, any questions from the audience? You guys have any questions? It could be about this. It could be about anything else. Lisa, any questions? Anything you want to bring up before we say goodbye?
Not that I can think of right now. I'm sure questions will come up when we get to Telegram, though.
Oh, Telegram, you guys, is off the chain. Yeah, we talk about, we can even curse over there. So the link is provided. If you want to meet us over there, then please come on over there. We look forward to being in your corner, helping you out, and just being very transparent. That's why we have the Telegram, because we want to be transparent, and this is all about you guys. Yes. Other than that, I'm good.
All right. And then if you are new and joining Telegram, when you come over to that channel on Telegram, you'll see a join button on the top. That's where it'll be a voice conversation. So you'll be able to interact with us. We'll be able to interact with you. So just press that join button.
Yes, and we're gonna do our best to keep it tight. We'll get over there and give it about 30 minutes. So if you can come hang out, if you're washing dishes or taking your makeup off or doing something around the house, you can just turn your phone on or your computer, turn it up, and just like listen in the conversation over on Telegram. Come on.
Sounds good.
All right, you guys. So we're going over to Telegram. You have been listening to Lisa Marie and Robert Ferguson. We've been talking about metformin, and now we're going to take the conversation to a private area. And once we get over there, we can say whatever we want, and we can curse. And I promise not to make anybody upset. But if it slips out, sometimes the only way to say certain things is to like say it with a word that may fall into the category of profanity. All right,
All right, then let's go, Robert.
All right, I'll see you over there.
See you there.
Okay, you guys.
Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.